Ninjakiwi has just released update 4.3.1 in Battles 2 with some of the most interesting balance changes I've ever seen. So today, we're gonna go through all of them. Let's hop right into it. Here we go, guys. Starting off with the balance changes, we have some changes to HP ramping. Balloon HP ramping from the round 41 to 50 was increased from plus 40% round to plus 80% round. So essentially, this is the free play rounds. You barely ever are gonna hit this in your regular games, but the balloons are gonna be a lot more difficult to defend on round 50. The ramping was also increased from rounds 51 to 100, but this only applies in Bonanza, so I'm not really going to look too much into it because I'm not really a fan of Bonanza, but if you are, it's going to be harder to defend those super late rounds. And following that, there are some changes to the balloon sins as well. The round 27 tight BFB sin was increased in price from 7k to 10k, which is interesting because I honestly didn't see that many people utilizing the tight BFB sin. I feel like it was pretty balanced at 7k because you lose a lot of eco sending them as well, but you know, fair enough, and if Ninjakiwi thought to nerf it, that's fine. And here's what I'm actually pretty excited about, though. Balloon Bot Factory. This is one of the least favorite maps in Hole Masters right now, and my least favorite map specific as well. The Balloon Bot Factory elevator sequence is now changed. Both platforms remain up until round 5 off the start. Starting on round 6, the top platform will drop for 2 rounds, and then both platforms will be up for 4 rounds, and the bottom platform will drop for 2 rounds, and so on and so forth. So essentially, you're gonna have both platforms up 66% of the time after round 5 inside of Balloon Bot Factory now, which is gonna offer a lot more unique strategies. As Ninjakiwi said, Balloon Bot Factory was intended to create an interesting challenge by denying access to half the player's defenses at one time. Unfortunately, most players either skip the map or use a loadout that can ignore its effects like Mortar or Helipilot, which is basically what I do. We are increasing the amount of time both platforms stay up to make the map less punishing and hopefully increase its play rate. That's fair. And now we're onto the tower changes, and first off, the Dart Monkey crossbow was increased in price from 450 to 600, and the crossbow pierce was reduced from 8 to 7. I think this change is so funny, guys. I was saying the crossbow is OP, it was OP, and I don't know why Ninjakiwi buffed it. And Ninjakiwi has this thing where, like, a tower is fine. You know, the crossbow was already a pretty decent tower 2 updates ago. It was 450 price, and it had 6 pierce. And then out of nowhere, they buffed it for no reason. They gave it plus 2 pierce, and it was obviously OP, and now they nerfed it to the point where it's worse than it was initially. It costs 150 more than it initially cost 2 updates ago. It has 1 more pierce than it initially had, but in my opinion, that's worse. So I don't know why they buffed it to begin with, but at least they nerfed it. It did need nerfed, but it's just weird to think about. Next, we have the tax shooter. The hot shots are being increased in price from $600 to $700, and the Ring of Fire is also being increased in price as well. Personally, I don't think hot shots really needed a price nerf. I did pretty much never see people utilizing that upgrade. I only saw people buying it if they're getting Ring of Fire, basically. That's the use of the upgrade. So nerfing hot shots doesn't make any sense to me, but nerfing Ring of Fire is fine. I think Ring of Fire is always a pretty good option in the early and mid game rounds, so yeah. Sniper Monkey, the bouncing bullet pierce was increased by 2 from 3 to 5, and the Elite Sniper gets shrapnel after every bounce. I do like these changes. Elite Sniper definitely needs shrapnel. It pretty much popped 0 balloons for being an elite sniper beforehand after the shrapnel nerf, so that's fair. And the bouncing bullet pierce change is also fine. I still feel like bouncing bullet's not going to do that much without the bouncing shrapnel, but I guess we'll just have to see. But sniper definitely did need buffs because it is pretty garbage right now in the game. And here is the one that everyone's been talking about. This is the talk of the town, guys. It's the banana farm. The banana farm got some really interesting changes. First off, the unupgraded banana farm 000 now includes the increased collect radius from easy collect. So the 000 farm is basically a 0001. Monkey banks also include the bank full visual effect as the 031 cross path used to have. But here's the one we're all talking about. The XX1 easy collect is now replaced with quality soil, which costs $400 and decreases the cost of top and middle path farm upgrades by 20%. This is the thing that everyone's talking about. Now you might look at this and say, Ryan, it decreases the cost by 20%, but if you have a top path farm, you can just get the middle cross path and increase your production by 25%. So why would you ever get the bottom cross path? It doesn't make sense. Well, it actually makes a ton of sense because if you look at the farm upgrades, the upgrade after quality soil is banana salvage, which will make your farm sell for 10% more value. So if you have a BRF, for example, you can get the bottom crosspath to make your BRF 20% cheaper, and then later you can get the increased sellback with the banana salvage upgrade. And if you crosspath the BRF with the middle path, for example, you're never going to get that banana salvage upgrade on it. So that's a big argument to be made. And on top of that, it's just going to allow you to get your big farm upgrades a lot quicker, right? The BRF with the 20% decrease in price is like 12.8k, and your Banana Central is like 55k. So it's going to allow you to just save up for it a lot quicker and get that income quicker. And lastly, the middle path farm benefits a ton from the quality soil too, because the middle path farm isn't really reliant on the top cross path at all. Like if you're getting Monkeynomics up, you're not really making much money at all from the interest inside of the bank. It's all from the ability. So if you just have quality soil, that's essentially a 20% buff to your Monkeynomics, because your Monkeynomics is just going to be 20% cheaper with this cross path now. And one really interesting thing about the bottom crosspath farms as well is I did some math on them. A 402 BRF now with the decreased prices costs 17,580. It gives you 3,000 per round. And if you compare that to a central market, which costs 18,500 and gives you 2,880 per round, you can see the BRF costs less and has more income. So there's really no reason at all to go for a central market at any point unless you're building the central market into a Monkey Wall Street. The BRF is just always better because the BRF also still has the increased sellback from the 2 upgrades on the bottom path. Now, as for Plantation versus Marketplace, the Plantation is still the route over Marketplace in pretty much all the circumstances. It's cheaper than the Marketplace and it's more efficient. You make more income per dollar spent. So yeah, go for Plantations now. The bottom path farm is kind of dead after this change. So yeah, that's just my quick analysis on the farm upgrades. Obviously, there's a lot more to go into here, like new farming routes are going to be discovered, when you should go for the middle cross path on your top path farms, or when you should go for the bottom cross path. I could explain this all in a farm video later on, so let me know in the comment section if you want to see that. But on to the next change, it's the Gwendolyn, ladies and gentlemen. Science Gwendolyn actually got a ton of unique changes here. So first off, Gwendolyn's main fireball attack now deals +1 damage to frozen and lead balloons. The level 3 cocktail now deals +1 damage to lead and frozen. The level 4 heated up now gives +1 lead/frozen damage to the monkeys in range, as well as the other effects like pierce and stuff that it gives. And then level 10, the initial blast from the firestorm deals +1 damage to lead and frozen balloons. So basically, Gwendolyn got all the lead and frozen damage that Science Gwendolyn used to have. And Science Gwendolyn is the one that changed a ton here, guys. So Science Gwendolyn, level 1, replaced main fireball attack with +1 bonus damage from lead to frozen, 2 +1 bonus damage to glue or acid balloons. So if a balloon is covered in the glue gunner's glue or the alchemist's acid, your Science Gwendolyn is dealing more damage to it now. The level 3 chemical cocktail duration was decreased from 8 to 6. Its damage interval was increased, which means it ticks less often. But the damage per tick of the cocktail was doubled from 1 to 2. So I think that's honestly a buff to level 3 ability. And the level 3 ability also burns off acid or glue applied to the balloon when it's hit by fire. And it removes the effect of dealing damage equivalent to 4 seconds worth of corrosion. 1 for glue, 2 for corrosive glue, 16 for dissolver, 80 for liquefier, and 400 for balloon solver. The level 4 heated up buff now gives monkeys in range +2 damage to balloons covered in glue/acid instead of lead and frozen balloons. It also allows monkeys to pop lead and frozen, or still allows them. Level 5 Pyrotechnics Expert replaced with Chemical Expert. Glue Splatter Glue Gunners X2X and Unstable Concoction Alchemists get +10% blast radius and 0.9x attack cooldown modifier. That's actually a really interesting level for Gwendolyn. The level 10 Science Storm duration was decreased from 3.5 seconds to 3 seconds. And now the Science Storm also burns off acid or glue from the initial blast, dealing damage 4 seconds worth of corrosion. So similar to what I was talking about before. The level 16 Science Storm duration was decreased as well. Level 18 is now Chemical Master, where Glue Gunners and Unstable Concoction Alchemists get +20% blast radius and 0.8x cooldown modifier. The level 20 Science Storm got less damage and less Moab class damage now, but the level 20 Science Storm now burns off any acid or glue worth 12 seconds of corrosion. So 1 for the base glue, 6 for corrosive, 48 for dissolver, 240 for liquefier, and 1200 for balloon solver. Man, that was a mouthful. But essentially, the Science Gwendolyn now is a glue gunner's best friend, which is going to be a really interesting thing to test out. The burning off of DOT is something I think's really cool. So yeah, I'm excited to test that one out. Azili also got a cool change where the level 10 Moab Hex effect can now stack on the same balloon. So if you micro Moab Hex, you can have multiple hexes working down the BAD, which would be a really cool thing to test out. So I'm happy about that. And last but not least, we have Etienne's level 10 UCAV duration getting decreased from 18 seconds to 12 seconds while active. So Etienne with a little bit of nerf there, but a deserved nerf. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on all these mountain changes overall, definitely a ton of interesting changes. This is one of the most interesting updates they've ever had for Battles 2, but I'm really excited for it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Ryan back out. Peace, guys.